Alright, what's going on? It's a little early morning session for me before work, so it's around 6 in the morning. I ended up falling asleep super early after work, and I wanted to get a video out of a couple hands. I studied for a bit yesterday, but did not have the energy to play at all, so I wanted to wait until today, until I got some sleep. Yeah, I just got 2 tables up. I kind of like this format. The more I think about it, the more I like just playing 2 tables. I will, like what I'll start doing is just time stamping the hands. So like any hand I play, I'll timestamp it in the video, so you don't have to like listen to me talk. If you don't want to, you can just look at some hands. So ace 3-3. This is not a range bet board. I think it's pretty close though, or maybe it is from this position actually. I'm not exactly sure. I think you can bet large on this board texture as well, because you can like leverage some advantage in ace king. I'll have to look at that one. Here I squeeze the aces. I mean, that's not too hard to understand. This is likely a fish, just based on size. I will lay the tag on there. I don't like to jump to conclusions, but I see the enormous low jack open, short stack, and I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze again here. This may get less credit back-to-back hands, but squeezing is overpowered slightly, I think. So Jack 10-10. I'm going to be range betting this texture, and over here I'm going to 3-bet. Transconductance. I imagine this is a lot of pocket pair region. That cold calls twice pretty quickly. I do like betting this hand on the left here with some backdoor. I like betting it much more than check folding, even though I'm aware I'll have to check fold at some frequency, and or you end up in the check line. You have a little bit more fold equity. On the 3, you have to be a bit careful to not like over barrel, but I'm gonna barrel this again, unblocking some folds like from the like 8s, 9s, 7s region. Probably not too comfortable calling. Oh shoot, I've folded 7s. This is a bit of a mistake. It's all right. If I call that, I would have sacrificed my explanation for double barreling a hand that's probably not the best to barrel with. So at least there's that. But yeah, I will be timestamping the hands that I play, like any notable hands. I'll timestamp them, and it'll be a bit nicer to watch the video if you're watching them solely just to look at some interesting spots. Versus the size here, we'll always 3-bet. I typically go smaller. Those are at least the ranges I study. And then we're gonna call here. I don't obviously like facing a snap jam, or maybe I do. King 9 is ambitious. Wow. I don't really have much to say about this one. That was a gift. So Deo Bill, we appreciate the donation. I definitely could use it. I don't think I've been doing that well on this site. You know, the first couple days at least. 2 days ago, I ended up booking a small win, and then, you know, just playing a little bit today. Oh wow, this guy, he just comes and sits to my left. Yeah, I'm interested in knowing like how you guys have been running. If you got any interesting results, any big downswing, big upswing, whatever it is, let me know. Me personally, been kind of a long break-even stretch online, which is not horrible, but it's not preferred. I'd rather be crushing, but I don't think I'm at the skill. I don't think I have that skill level yet where I can crush. I'm gonna continue this versus a fish. Check this here facing limp. Here I am not going to check raise. We're a little bit short, and then I expect like a fish to maybe continue a little too often. This turn is going to go check a lot, and that's pretty nice for my hand to, you know, get to realize. And then versus bet, I'm going to fold. Here facing one big blind. Go ahead, let that one go. Wow, rapid fire hands this morning. Oh yeah, I should have, you know, probably have a little bit more clear thought process if I had some coffee at my house right now, but I dusted it all off yesterday. I didn't get around to going to the supermarket, which I will say is the absolute worst after work. So probably going to try and do that today. Just like my you know, my boring white collar. Just boring white collar shit. You know, it's one of the benefits of being a poker player. You go to the supermarket whenever the hell you want, like while everybody's at work. You kind of just have your own schedule. That was always one of the appealing things to that lifestyle. About that lifestyle. I tried the site. Well, I tried playing on the site Bet Online the other day. I think I had an account already, and it had been deactivated because it had been so long. But yeah, I guess I got an account like right when I like started playing cards. I got us out on Bet Online. It's part of Chico Network. I've been hearing that the games are pretty good, but I'm not, I wouldn't be able to speak to that. So, if any of you guys know how the 100 games are, or 200 games are on Bet Online, let me know. I think I wouldn't be able to play on this format because there's some sort of like, it's just like you're not allowed to screen capture the software as like a protective measure from bots, which it's a smart idea, all things considered. But I'll show you, like, if I do play there, I'll make sure to show some results. Usually after I wrap up these videos, I like open up PT4 and collect all the hands for like a database. So I just have like a 100 NL database now that I'm building up, and I guess I'll probably show you guys after the first 10K hands, even though I'm sure a lot of you online guys will be moaning about, oh, it's not a sample. Actually, no, it might be a good thing, right? Because, like, say I lose like some tremendous amount of money, that's sort of working in my favor to be like, oh, well, it's a very small sample. But yeah, you online guys are obsessed with enormous samples, like just playing hundreds of thousands of hands before making any sort of convicted, like, or by mentioning your win rate with any sort of conviction. I guess I just used 2.5. I need to start studying some of these short stack ranges, even though, typically you're playing as a short stack and it's a fish. It probably is nice to know. I noticed on ACR more than some other sites, like, people, at least at 100 NL, will buy in for the minimum. And, like, I had some of these people reg tag because it's not like they're playing, like, shorts, like, fish who are buying in short, they're playing pretty well from what I could tell. So I don't know, it might be nice to learn 50 BB strategy as well as like maybe 40. And then another interesting one, it's a pretty interesting game format actually. I don't know how many of you have played this, but on Global Poker they have Global Poker's a sweepstakes site. It's like a U.S. fence pool. So if you're outside of the United States, maybe you've heard of it, probably haven't played it, but they have 20 big blind cap games, and they're pretty popular. They're always full rank, but they're pretty popular. I've never bothered playing because I haven't studied any 20 big blind strategy at all for tournaments or cash games. But I imagine a lot of people haven't. Like, I was constantly seeing fish playing those games. And I'm sure there's like people who are studying or crushing those stakes or that format, but I think it's got to be pretty appealing to fish just because so much money is flying in all the time. Like, if you're playing cards to gamble, right? Like, or for the main reason being gambling, that game has to be pretty nice to play. King 6-5 two-tone. I would not range bet this board, but sevens is a nice hand to bet. Better than like tens or jacks. I'm gonna go ahead and bet quarter pot on a 90. I would probably check this back on a lower roll, but it's got some backdoor properties. This is a small raise. Essentially, this raise is like built around like some king jack, or hands like that. Maybe even a hand like mine, like 6-7. I'm gonna continue with the call. 8-6 offsuits, fold. This is a tighter player, but versus a third pot here, I'm going to continue. I have a lot of equity, and I'm beating some amount of bluffs that my opponent can have. Not that I think they'd be overdoing it all in this line. Yeah, I don't think I need to bluff catch with. It's tempting to jam with this, but like, I sort of anticipate that this is like maybe some induction size. I think fold is slightly higher EV than jam because if they're taking this line with everything, then that size is pretty well protected. And it might be like some sort of induction raise on the ace of diamonds. So like maybe like snap calling 2 pair or something. I also could just be totally psyching myself out. That was at least what my gut was telling me in that line. I think that it doesn't make a lot of sense in theory to be just blocking all three, like race half pot and then block turn and river. Maybe you have like a king X type hand, like that's pretty much what you're saying is you have like a hand like king jack, right, or king 10. In that case, raising seems pretty nice. I don't have a lot of history with this player, so it is hard to say. But the EV of raising, like calling, folding, they'll have to be pretty close to 0. And then here I will continue with the call. It's been 17 minutes already. So I'll go for a couple more minutes here and call it and probably play a bit more, but I gotta work. After check. Yeah, I think I like bet after like snap check. I like betting. I'm gonna use B33. This size seems pretty effective to me. A snap call, they do have some 9x, but I bet I get some ace high to fold. And some maybe like yeah. I don't really anticipate a fish folding tons of pairs there. At least on global, fish were extremely sticky, and I was not getting a lot of respect. On that river, using B75 is probably the only size I would use. I wouldn't really size up when my opponent is uncapped after the turn. But I had him fish check, this guy from Hungary. This is a small button 3-bet size versus a cutoff open. I will always continue this hand, and I will always continue it as a call versus this player type. You could argue like if you rolled super high, right, you'd want to mix maybe into 4-bet slightly, but I like, I'm getting a nice price to call. So. Yeah, you can range with these boards as in position. This is a larger size. This is a fold for me. I'm just tanking for a bit. It's pretty hard to defend on those boards, and when I studied them, like there's a certain like not versus this like B60 size or whatever he used. Maybe it was like 2/3 pot or something. I can't remember now, but I remember like versus quarter pot there being some raising that you have to do, and the response for impositions versus check raise. Like the check raise strategy was pretty polar, and like the response for imposition was like that there was like some amount of ace-x that was indifferent. So that mixing some fold, which I didn't really think, like my intuition is telling me that that's not happening as much as it probably need to be in game. But like the nice part is that just means that you're getting to the turn with a weaker range, so you could increase like the double barrel frequency, I guess. I don't know. Like I think when I was looking at that spot, another nice exploit would have just been to like maybe funnel slightly more value hands into the check raise region, which is kind of what people are doing already, inadvertently, just playing a little more honest. Here, fold. I didn't see that he had opened, and this is going to versus smaller size it mixes. Actually, I'm going to 3-bet this on an 85. You can be pretty aggressive, like when you're deeper. 8-4-3 can half pot or check. I don't like having the diamond as much, so on a 17 I will check back. It's like a snap 3/4. Yeah, there's not really much for my hand to do exactly other than fold, but interesting timing. Like the snap timing is peculiar to me. Versus a fish, ace-6-5 rainbow, I'm going to continue with a bet. I won't even mix something like this ever, even though I'm sure you are supposed to mix some amount of checkbacks, like maybe extremely low frequency, and then extremely small check raise. It's hard to this could have opened, but it is an indifferent hand. It's hard to figure what's better. Like I could 3-bet. I think 3-betting is slightly better because there are a lot of like dumb draws that they check raise for small here. I call and then I let them realize a lot of equity for free, and then I'm getting clicked here. So now I'm going to continue with the call, being it that SPR is approaching 1. It is possible he has only, like, as far as like value hands, right, he has like 6s. I'm gonna call, hope for a brick. That's pretty nice river. I'm gonna slow roll them slightly, just for fun, just for funsies, because I'm silly. And I'll call, and he has the old A6 offsuit. That was a nice river. I guess, like, I was considering raising the turn, like all in, because his range is so strong at that point. Like, the reason I didn't is because the turn size was, like, I was expecting a lot of like jam on the turn from fish, but you know, I don't think, I think they're probably too inelastic with that strong of a range. Like, I don't think they're gonna find too many folds, especially, you know, when they just have a range of strong hands, almost exclusively. That might be the last hand. I'm gonna play one more orbit, and I'll pause the, you know, I'll cut the video there. That was a fun one. This is like the second time something, you know, interesting or fun has happened while I'm playing and recording these videos. We're gonna through at this. I think at least in the deep stack ranges that I've studied, you raise to 8.5 big blinds. Jacks here, pretty nice hand to bet. I don't know what the correct size is. Like, I guess like I'm gonna use half pot. But I think you can size up slightly and also size down. However, it's like hard to really leverage an advantage in overpairs when you're super deep. Like, overpairs aren't gonna be able to stack off really. Here I'm gonna check. Hopefully we get into like a delayed line with this hand. Jack clubs turn. I think my hand's still okay showing down. I don't have too many reads on this player, but I think the one benefit is like I have like the 10 of diamonds. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about that. That one's kind of like, you know, you hate to see it. There's a little bit of like weak passive play. This is a good time to actually end the video. Let me sit on the big blind so I can wrap things up. 54. This mixes all three for me at 100 big blinds. I'm sure this is supposed to, like, this might be raising slightly more when you're 200 big blinds deep, just because you're supposed to have a little bit, you're supposed to be a bit more polar when you're 3-betting, and like this hand is a pretty nice 3-bet bluff. I don't know the 200 big blind strategy. I don't know how often you're supposed to bet this board in single raise pots out of position, but I'm gonna check this one back, and you know, this is not a great turn, but when my opponent takes like this passive line, I'm gonna start to stab. I think I'm blocking some folds. Like, they're gonna have hands like A7 of clubs, Ace-8 of clubs. And when I open the action on this card, I imagine I don't want to reopen for a small size. I might record something briefly later today, but seems unlikely. I kind of do like these morning sessions, pretty quiet, and get to kind of play cards in the morning. My brain is usually working a bit better in the morning than it is in the evening. After, I get done with my day. So it looks like that was probably the last hand there, right? Yeah. All right, so that was it's a brief one. If you're still watching, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully things are going well for you guys on the felt. It's just a chill morning session. So yeah, see you next time.